The moment the sun rose over Jamaica, Queens, everything changed. What started as a messy online back and forth between 50 Cent and King Harris exploded into something darker, heavier, and far more disturbing than anyone ever imagined. Because while the internet was laughing at King Harris mouthing off in that video, someone else was watching. Someone who took his words personally. Someone who decided to send a message, not online, but in real life. And that message? It was left at 50 Cent's mother's grave. When the cemetery groundskeeper made his early morning rounds, he noticed something unusual near the headstone. Something that wasn't there the day before. At first he thought it was just another visitor leaving flowers. But as he got closer, his entire body froze. He backed up, then stepped forward again, trying to understand what he was seeing. It wasn't flowers, it wasn't candles, it wasn't a tribute. It was something twisted. Yeah, something deliberate. Something no normal person would leave at a grave unless they wanted to provoke a reaction so extreme, so emotional, that it couldn't be ignored. The groundskeeper immediately contacted security. Security notified the cemetery manager, and within an hour, an unmarked black SUV pulled up outside the gates, followed by another vehicle with tinted windows and private personnel stepping out, scanning the area like they were preparing for a threat. Then word began spreading quietly behind the scenes, and by afternoon, whispers were circulating through the entertainment industry. What they found at the grave? It's bad. It's connected to King Harris's video. Fifth is going to lose it when he sees this. No way this was random. This was planned. But the most chilling part? The item left at the grave wasn't just symbolic. It wasn't just disrespectful. It was a warning. A warning so disturbing that insiders are saying 50 Cent's entire team is now on high alert, and the public has no idea how close this came to becoming a full-blown crisis. And what exactly was left there? The truth will shake you. To understand why what happened at that grave has shaken the entire entertainment world, you have to go back, way back, to the root of 50 Cent's deepest pain, the anger he hides behind jokes, the trauma he never speaks about unless pushed into a corner. But because this isn't just another celebrity feud, another viral moment, another messy back and forth between two public figures. This hits the part of 50 Cent's soul that he protects more fiercely than anything, the memory of his mother. Long before he became 50 Cent, long before the music, the fame, the power, the executive titles, the television empire, he was Curtis, a young boy from Jamaica, Queens, raised by a woman who was as feared as she was loved. His mother, Sabrina, shaped him, hardened him, protected him in a world where no one else could. And losing her wasn't just painful. It was violent, traumatic, and unsolved for years. Everyone in hip-hop knows the story. Everyone knows that bringing up 50's mother is a line you do not cross. It's sacred ground. So when King Harris, T.I.'s son, made that wild, reckless, unfiltered video mocking 50 Cent, acting tough, threatening disrespect, acting like he wanted smoke with a man who built his life out of survival. The internet laughed, but the people who know Fifth? They went quiet. Because King wasn't just talking trash. He said something specific. Something that hit deeper. Something he shouldn't have conjured out of his mouth. And that line, is the reason this entire situation spiraled out of control. But to really understand how dangerous this became, you have to understand the relationship between 50 Cent and King Harris. There isn't one. There never has been. No collaborations, no history, no private conversations. No reason for their names to ever be in the same sentence. And that's what makes this next part so crazy. King Harris tried to spark a feud with a man who thrives off confrontation. A man who doesn't argue. He obliterates. He doesn't trade insults. He buries people with memes, with jokes, with strategy, with influence. And normally people poke the bear for clout, hoping 50 will respond so they can trend for 48 hours. But King didn't just poke the bear, he threw gasoline on the forest. Because once that video went viral, King flexing, popping off, trying to act like he wanted to check 50, People online started dragging old stories, old rumors, old drama, and creating narratives that escalated everything. And in that chaos, someone, nobody knows who, crossed a line that should never be crossed. Because 50 Cent's mother, her grave, her memory, her story, that's the one place in the world where 50 drops the persona, where he becomes a son again, where everything he built fades into the background and he stands in front of the one person he always wishes he could still protect. Now think about this. The day after King posted that video, people started tagging 50 in comments. Bro, check the cemetery. Fifth, someone did something wild. You're not going to like what was found at your mom's grave. At first, everyone assumed it was trolls. People playing online. People trying to trigger him. But behind the scenes, something was happening. Because earlier that morning, the groundskeeper found something on the grave that was not there the night before. And here's where the story grows darker. Because the cemetery is private. There are cameras. There are restricted entry hours. No one should have been able to leave anything without being recorded. And yet, nothing showed up on camera. No figure, no shadow, no visitor, no movement. Just a time gap. 22 minutes of corrupted footage. Footage that the cemetery staff has never seen glitch before. Footage that just so happened to glitch the night after King's video went viral. Coincidence? The industry doesn't believe in coincidences. Not with this timing, not with this target. Yeah, and that's when rumors started circulating internally. Powerful people quietly asking questions. Was someone sending 50 a message? Did somebody orchestrate this to stir beef? Is King even aware of the line he crossed? Was this a setup to spark a war between families? Because here's the thing about the entertainment world. Public drama is never just public drama. There are always hidden players, hidden motives, people pulling strings for revenge, distraction, clout, or control. And when it involves someone like 50 Cent, someone who has influence, money, and the ability to expose anyone at any time, people get bold, or they get stupid, or they get reckless. But no one expected someone to go this far. No one expected a real-life action tied to an online video. No one expected a grave, his mother's grave, to become the center of a message. And as insiders whispered, one theme kept repeating, whatever was left there, it wasn't random. Everyone knows something big was placed on that grave. Everyone knows it was symbolic. Everyone knows it was personal. And everyone knows that once 50 Cent found out what it was, the temperature of the entire situation changed. But the cost of disrespecting a man like 50 Cent in a place like that? Oh, when you hear what was found there, everything about this feud will look different. Why, the moment word reached 50 Cent's inner circle about something being left at his mother's grave, everything shifted. People who normally speak loudly suddenly whispered. People who normally joked around went silent. And people who never get involved in celebrity drama began calling each other privately, asking if the rumor was true. Because disrespecting 50 Cent online? That's one thing. But violating the resting place of the woman who shaped him? The woman whose death hardened him into the man he became? That isn't trolling. That isn't a meme. That isn't entertainment. That's war. And here's where the story gets insane. Because the first person to respond to the rumor wasn't 50. It wasn't his manager. It wasn't someone from G Unit. It was someone close to the cemetery staff who leaked what they saw that morning. And what they described was so shocking, so twisted, so symbolic that the internet still doesn't know how to process it. At first, the groundskeeper thought it was a bundle of fabric, a piece of clothing someone dropped, maybe flowers wrapped in cloth. But when he got closer, just a few feet away, he froze. It wasn't fabric, it was a shirt. A black shirt with the words, T.I. Family Business, sharpied across the front. This wasn't just an object. This was a taunt, a signature, like a message saying, this came from someone connected to you-know-who. And even though fans don't know who left it, even though no one was caught, even though the footage conveniently glitched, The implication was enough to send everyone into panic mode. But that wasn't the disturbing part. Inside the folded shirt was something even darker. A burned candle stub. But not just any candle. A cemetery candle. A morning light. Symbolic. Intentional. Ceremonial. Like someone was performing a ritual of disrespect. And next to the candle, a piece of torn notebook paper with 4 words scrawled across it. Say it to my face. Now here's the twist. Those words were the exact phrase King Harris yelled on livestream when mocking 50 Cent after the viral clip. The same phrase, the same tone, the same energy. Fans were stunned. People online debated, did King do this? Did someone do it for him? Is this a setup? Is someone trying to pit 50 and King against each other? Because as much as people joke about King Harris talking tough, no one believes a 19-year-old would sneak into a cemetery at night and pull off something this bold. Not alone. Not without being noticed. But the writing? The shirt? The symbolism? All of it felt specific. Too specific to be random. And that's when investigators discovered the darkest part of the scene. Between the headstone and the shirt was a small audio recorder, placed face down in the soil. Someone didn't just leave a message, they were trying to capture a reaction, trying to record 50 Cent, trying to catch him grieving, trying to provoke him into an emotional outburst that could be used against him. This wasn't disrespect. This was a psychological attack. The groundskeeper didn't realize what it was until security picked it up. By the time they examined it, the device had already been smashed, and probably by accident, but the SD card was still inside. And here's the first major twist. The card wasn't empty. It had 16 minutes of audio already recorded. Not from the cemetery, not from the groundskeeper, not from 50 Cent, but from a car, a conversation. 2 male voices, arguing, whispering, panicking. The audio quality was low, but one sentence, just one, was clear enough to understand. Bro, hurry up. We ain't staying here long. Fans went wild. Was it King Harris? Was it someone from his circle? Was it someone trying to frame him? Was it someone sending a message to both families? This audio changed everything. Because if the device was recording before being placed at the grave, that means whoever left it did not plan to pick it back up. Did not plan to retrieve evidence. And Asana did not care if they were identified later. This wasn't a prank. This was a warning. But the story gets even darker. When 50's team learned about the recorder and the items left at the grave, insiders say 50's demeanor changed instantly. Not angry, not loud, not explosive. Silent. Cold. Focused. Because the moment you violate that grave, you aren't attacking a rapper. You're attacking Curtis Jackson, the son whose life was shaped by loss. Sources say he immediately called in private security. Not to protect himself, but to protect the site. This wasn't about fear. This was about respect. But here's where the twist hits hard. When they pulled the corrupted camera footage from the cemetery, they discovered something the public does not know. The glitch wasn't random. Someone used a signal jammer. A real one. The kind you only see in surveillance breaches. The kind criminals use to block cameras before a break-in. Not the kind that requires planning, not impulse. Which means this was organized. Someone planned this. Someone executed this. Someone wanted 50 Cent to react. But why? That's when the second twist emerged. A twist that flipped the entire situation upside down. Because while fans assumed King Harris directed the disrespect, a source close to the investigation claims that the handwriting on the "Say It to My Face" note does not match King's handwriting. Meaning, someone imitating him? Someone trying to frame him? Someone trying to spark a feud between 2 powerful families? And the craziest part? Even King Harris, the one who talks the loudest online, suddenly went silent. No live streams, no jokes, no comments, nothing. His team, also silent. T.I., Silent. The entire Harris family? Silent. And that is what scared fans the most. When King stops talking, something serious is happening. But the most shocking twist came from the audio device found at the grave. Because when investigators enhanced the background noise, they heard something chilling. A sound experts recognized instantly. A car door from a vehicle model King Harris does not drive, meaning whoever was there was not King. But they wanted people to think it was. Someone set this up. Someone wanted this exact reaction. Someone wanted 50 Cent to believe King crossed a line he never intended to cross. And if 50 finds out who really did this, that person's world will collapse. But this is only the beginning of the unraveling, because the next discovery shocked even 50's closest allies. They found a second item, hidden, buried, and far more disturbing. Just when investigators thought the black shirt, the candle, the handwritten note, and the mysterious audio recorder were disturbing enough, everything escalated to an entirely new level of darkness. And because beneath the soil, like hidden so carefully that the groundskeeper only found it while clearing debris, there was something else. Something shoved deep into the earth. Something the person who left it did not want immediately discovered. A small velvet pouch, tied shut, heavy, moist from the ground, and when security opened it, every single person in the room recoiled. Inside was a broken gold chain, not just any chain, a replica of the exact style of chain 50 Cent wore at age 15. Long before fame, long before the music career, long before becoming the man the world knows. The same design his mother once bought him. The same chain he famously talked about losing after she passed. The same chain that symbolized the last moment of innocence he ever had. Someone recreated it, then snapped it in half, and buried it at her grave. This wasn't disrespect. This was psychological warfare. Someone wanted to hit him in a place deeper than anger. They wanted to hit the part of him that still mourns, still carries guilt, still remembers growing up without her guidance. The team examining the pouch knew instantly. This wasn't random. This wasn't casual. This wasn't a fan. This was somebody who knew exactly what that chain represented. And then came the second shocking reveal. Wrapped around the broken chain was a small strip of fabric, a rag torn from a designer hoodie. The same type King Harris was wearing in his viral video. Except the fabric wasn't his. It was a fake, meaning someone didn't just want to frame him. They took the time to mimic his clothing, stage it, and plant it near the grave. This was orchestrated. Staged. Planned like a message from someone with patience and an agenda. And then, everything blew open, because one of the investigators analyzing the audio recorder found something everyone else missed. A faint background sound layered under the conversation. At first it sounded like static, then like humming, then like air pressure. But when enhanced, the sound became unmistakable. A long, slow whistle. The kind people use to signal someone else from a distance. A whistle followed by a car alarm chirp, a specific model, a specific lock sound, one used by high-end vehicles customized with aftermarket alarm systems. And who owns that same type of vehicle? Not King. Not anyone in his known circle. But someone who has quietly had issues with 50 Cent for years. Someone with a history of sending subliminal shots. Someone who once claimed hip-hop beef ain't over, people just pretend it is. Someone who, until now, had nothing to do with this feud. Investigators didn't name the person, but insiders started whispering. This wasn't about King at all. This was someone using him as a smokescreen. This is grown man business disguised as teenage drama. Then another twist hit. The cemetery received an anonymous envelope with no return address. Inside was a single photograph, a blurry nighttime shot of the cemetery entrance he'd taken from inside a car. The timestamp matched the exact window of the camera glitch. Written on the back were just 2 words. Check deeper. Security rushed back to the grave with metal detectors and tools. They scanned the area, expecting nothing. But 12 inches under the soil, directly beneath the headstone, they detected another metallic object. When they dug it up, they found something horrifying, a burner phone. Dead, battery removed. But when the SIM card was examined, and it revealed one chilling detail. The phone had sent exactly one text message at 3:14 a.m., the night the grave was tampered with. Just one text. To an unregistered number. And the message said, "It's done." Fans went into meltdown online. Who received that text? Who sent it? Who planned this? Who is targeting 50 through his mother's memory? Then journalists found another disturbing detail. 3:14 a.m. was 13 minutes after King Harris ended his viral livestream, meaning someone was watching the stream, waiting for the moment King said something reckless, and used his words as cover for their own attack. This wasn't coincidence, this wasn't timing, this was strategy. Someone wanted the world to blame King. Someone wanted to create chaos between two powerful families. Someone wanted 50 Cent angry, emotional, and reacting publicly. Because a triggered 50 is a dangerous 50, and whoever set him up knows that. But the biggest twist came from an eyewitness, a cab driver who came forward anonymously. He claimed he saw a black SUV near the cemetery late that night. Not King, not a teenage silhouette. A tall man, broad shoulders, wearing gloves, wearing a hood, moving with purpose, not fear. And the scariest part? According to the cab driver, he wasn't alone. Someone stayed in the car, just watching. Two people, not one. Not a random visitor, not a reckless kid reacting to online drama. Gain a team. And then the cab driver said something that sent chills across the internet. The second person had their phone out, recording the whole thing. Recording. Just like the audio device suggested. Just like the burner phone hinted at. Just like the staged shirt and note implied. This was not a prank. This was not youthful stupidity. This was a coordinated message. But the question remains, who was the message really for? 50 Cent? Or someone connected to him? Someone tied to his past? Someone with unfinished business? Because the cab driver confirmed one final detail before disappearing from the story. The SUV had partial custom plates. And those plates matched a vehicle owned by someone 50 publicly feuded with years ago, a feud that ended abruptly, mysteriously, and without explanation. Someone who swore that one day, 50 will feel what I felt. Everything suddenly makes sense, but nothing is confirmed. And now the world waits to see what 50 Cent will do. Because once he connects these dots, names will be exposed, lines will be drawn, and this won't stay online. This will spill into the real world. But we're not done, because investigators found one more item. The item that explains everything. And it changes the entire direction of this story. By the time news leaked that another hidden item had been found beneath 50 Cent's mother's grave, the entire entertainment world went into meltdown. This was no longer a rumor, no longer internet speculation, no longer a celebrity feud gone too far. This was real-world violation, something that crossed boundaries nobody in hip-hop culture ever thought would be crossed. And the reactions from fans, celebrities, industry insiders, security experts, and even former rivals were explosive. The first people to react were fans because once the grave photos, the burned candle, the fake hoodie cloth, the handwritten note, the smashed recorder, and the velvet pouch details hit the internet, everything turned into chaos. Twitter erupted. No way someone did this to 50's mom's grave. Now, that's evil. I don't care what beef you got. This is crossing the line. If 50 finds out who did this, it's over. King Harris better pray this ain't tied to him. But as more details surfaced, especially the part about the burner phone message saying, "It's done," the comments grew darker. This was planned. Someone is trying to start a war. Somebody wants 50 to snap. This ain't a kid's prank. This is grown man retaliation. TikTok detectives immediately mobilized, stitching videos, mapping timelines, analyzing voices in the recovered audio. Some creators reconstructed the time frame down to the second. King's livestream ending at 3:01 a.m. The burner phone text sent at 3:14 a.m. Camera footage glitching from 3:06 to 3:28. SUV sighting at 3:10. Audio recorder capturing whispering inside the car right before the device was buried. Fans weren't just entertained now, they were concerned. One viral comment said it perfectly. This isn't about King anymore. Someone wants 50 to think it is. And then celebrities started weighing in, some subtly, some very directly. A famous rapper tweeted, "Mess with a man's family, you awakening demons." Another posted, "That ain't beef, that's a setup." A legendary OG from Queens went live saying, "I know 50, and touch his mother's grave and you'll unleash something you ain't ready for." Even celebrities who normally avoid conflict felt the need to speak. A popular singer wrote, "People have lost their humanity. Respect the dead." But the comments with the most weight came from former rivals. Artists who once clashed with 50 but now stood with him. I don't care who you are. Doing that to someone's mom's grave is unforgivable. The industry took the situation very seriously, and the moment word spread that a signal jammer was used, which requires planning, equipment, and knowledge, executives started whispering, this wasn't a random hater. This wasn't a teenager trying to go viral. This was organized. Security teams from multiple labels began tightening protection around their own artists, fearing this could set a trend. But the biggest industry shift came from the sudden silence of the Harris family. T.I., not usually quick to address controversy, went completely quiet. Tiny? Silent? Zonique? Silent. Everyone in that family suddenly acted like speaking publicly was dangerous. That silence made fans suspicious. Why isn't T.I. saying anything? Did he get a call? Is he scared this will escalate? But the real shock came when a leaked DM began circulating online, allegedly from a person close to T.I.'s camp. This is beyond King, way beyond him, on someone is using him. That message changed the entire narrative. Suddenly the public realized King Harris wasn't the mastermind, he was the cover story. Somebody hid behind his viral moment to carry out a personal attack against 50 Cent wine and wanted the world to believe King was responsible. The question was, why? Why use King? Why use that moment? Why target 50 Cent through the one place guaranteed to trigger him? Then another bomb dropped. Yeah, a cemetery employee leaked something horrifying, something that wasn't supposed to reach the public. The second hidden item they found wasn't just symbolic. It wasn't just threatening. It was connected to a cold case from 50 Cent's past. As soon as that rumor hit, the internet lost its mind. Wait, this is deeper than a feud. Someone digging up old history? This is revenge, real revenge. This is tied to something that happened years ago. Hip-hop forums exploded with theories. Who was the SUV owner? Which old rival resurfaced? Who would have the guts and the knowledge to hit 50 in his most vulnerable spot? The Shade Room posted a cryptic story. This was personal, and whoever did it wasn't aiming for clout. Not clout, not publicity, not drama. A message. But here's where the industry went into full panic mode. Someone anonymously posted that they saw two investigators leave the cemetery shaking their heads, one saying, "If he finds out who did this, key bodies will fall." Blogs tried to verify the quote, but it didn't matter. The internet believed it. This wasn't entertainment anymore. This wasn't celebrity beef. This was something darker, deeper, calculated, tied to old wounds and old enemies. And now, everybody, like fans, celebrities, insiders, waited for only one thing. What was the second hidden item? What could be so disturbing, so symbolic, so intentionally placed that investigators believe it explains everything? You know, what did they find that connected this act to an old enemy of 50 Cent? Someone who disappeared from the spotlight? Someone with a score to settle? The answer? It is the most explosive discovery yet, and it turns the entire story upside down. For hours, the world waited. Fans refreshing timelines, blogs preparing headlines, insiders whispering nonstop, because everyone knew investigators had uncovered a second hidden item beneath the soil of 50 Cent's mother's grave. Something darker, something intentional, something that wasn't meant to be found quickly, but wasn't meant to stay buried forever either. And when the truth finally leaked, even the investigators themselves admitted, this changes everything. Because inside that second, deeper compartment of Earth, wrapped tightly in plastic, then duct-taped, then sealed inside a metal container, was an object that instantly triggered alarms for anyone who knew 50 Cent's past. A .380 shell casing, clean, untarnished, deliberately polished, and placed with surgical precision. To most people, it's just ammunition, but to those who know 50 Cent's life story, a .380 casing represents something far more chilling. That was the caliber used in the infamous attack where 50 was shot 9 times. The incident that nearly killed him. The event that reshaped his entire identity. The moment that transformed Curtis Jackson into 50 Cent. The legend, the survivor, the unstoppable force. And someone didn't just violate his mother's grave. They invoked the darkest chapter of his life. They resurrected trauma. They sent a message that couldn't be mistaken. This isn't about disrespect. This is about history. And it gets even more terrifying. Carved into the bottom of the casing, so small it had to be examined under magnification, was a set of initials. 2 letters. Deeply etched. Cold, precise. CL. Those initials hit the hip-hop world like a meteor. Because years ago, before fame changed everything, 50 Cent was rumored to have beef with a man known by those same initials. A man tied to the streets, tied to power, tied to unfinished business. A man who disappeared after 50's rise and was never heard from publicly again. A man people believed was gone, locked up, or dead. A man who once swore, according to street rumors, "If I ever hit back, it'll be through the people he loves." The internet lost it. CL? Him? No way he's back. This goes way deeper than King Harris. Why bring back his old enemy's initials now? What beef from the past is being resurfaced? Because now it was clear. This wasn't about King Harris. This wasn't about some teenage livestream. This wasn't an impulsive act from someone chasing clout. Someone wanted to frame King as a distraction, while silently reigniting a long-buried war between 50 and a ghost from his past. But the twist spiraled even further when investigators found something else inside the metal container. A small piece of paper, folded 12 times, weather-resistant, typed on a machine, not handwritten. It said, "It's been 23 years. You forgot. I didn't." 23 years. The exact amount of time since the shooting that nearly ended 50's life. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't trolling. This was a man speaking directly to another man. Not as a fan, not as a hater, not as a rival, but as an enemy. But here's the part that sent literal chills through the entire investigative team. At the bottom of the note were coordinates, actual numeric GPS coordinates. And when investigators plugged them into a map, the location was another cemetery, not the one where 50's mother rests, a different one, miles away, in a part of Queens tied to 50 Cent's earliest street history. When insiders saw the location, they knew exactly what it meant, and someone was telling 50, "Meet me where it began." But the final twist, a lot of the one nobody expected, the one that shakes the entire landscape of this story, came from a source close to the Harris family. A terrified source. A source who claimed King Harris had nothing to do with the grave incident, but also claimed something much more disturbing. King wasn't the target. He was the trigger. Someone waited for King Harris's viral moment. Someone watched the live stream. Someone used the chaos as the perfect smokescreen to rekindle old revenge. Because if 50 reacted wildly, if he blamed King, if the situation turned public and explosive, the real culprit could move quietly in the shadows, fulfilling a vendetta decades old. And now, after the reveal of the casing, the initials, the note, and the coordinates, the internet is terrified of one question. Will 50 Cent follow the address? Because insiders say he already knows who CL is, he knows the history, and he knows exactly what this message means. This story has moved far beyond petty online drama. It is now a slow-burning fuse, leading straight to a confrontation 23 years in the making. And if 50 Cent chooses to respond, hip-hop is about to witness something historic and dangerously real. Now the entire world is sitting on the edge of their seats. Because this is no longer a celebrity feud, no longer a viral moment, no longer a meme gone too far. But what happened at that cemetery? What was buried, planted, staged, and symbolically resurrected points to a decades-old war being pulled out of the shadows. A broken chain. A fake hoodie scrap meant to frame King Harris. A candle used in mourning rituals. A smashed recorder holding a whispered conversation. A burner phone text saying, "It's done." A .380 shell casing tied to the darkest moment of 50 Cent's past. Initials carved into metal, and a note reminding him of a 23-year-old wound, and coordinates pointing him back to where everything started. Someone didn't just want attention. Someone wanted 50 Cent to feel something, to remember something, to come looking. And now the biggest question in hip-hop is hanging in the air like electricity. Will 50 Cent go to that second location? Will he respond publicly? Will he address King Harris? Will the real enemy finally reveal himself? Is someone trying to start a feud between two powerful families? Or revive a beef that never truly died? And even more importantly, what happens if 50 uncovers who CL really is and confirms he's still alive and moving in the shadows? This story is exploding, and you are part of the investigation. Before the next twist drops, and trust me, it's coming soon, I want to hear your take. Do you think King Harris was framed? Do you think this attack was orchestrated by an old rival from 50's past? What do you think the coordinates lead to? A message, a setup, or something even more dangerous? And who do you believe is the mastermind behind the grave incident? Comment your theories below. All of them. Every detail matters. Every angle counts. Because the more people discuss this, the faster the truth comes to the surface. Make sure you like this video so the algorithm spreads this story before the next piece of evidence surfaces. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because when 50 Cent finally responds, or when someone else steps out of the shadows, you will not want to miss the next chapter. Stay alert. Stay tapped in. This isn't over, not even close.